guys, another weekly message here, kind of launching off what we talked about last week. But Jesus said something that in principle I think is true. He said, broad is the way to destruction. And again, destruction there is apolamahi, and it means loss, ruin, not being destroyed, but suffering loss. But straight, S-T-R-A-I-T, is the gate. Narrow is the way, and few be there that find it. I just want to talk about that concept for a minute relative to fulfillment and what God has done. I love the emblem, the sign or whatever of a triangles, either inverted or upright. They speak to me for some reason. And maybe because they're so prominent in the Star of David. But nevertheless, we talk about broad is the way, or straight is, and then we talk about narrow is the way. Narrow is straight is the gate. Narrow is the way, and broad is the way to loss and destruction. Okay? And so, just considering that this is what Jesus taught, I want to talk to you about a couple things. And let's first speak about this broad way to destruction. This is a highway, and it is really broad to get to loss. You know, in this life, we have DNA. And, you know, some of us at this point have some pretty messed up genetics. All sorts of things have been passed down genetically through eons of time, not eons, but thousands and thousands and thousands of years of the human race. And so we have DNA, and then we have our nurture. That's nature. Nurture. And how we were raised and what our parents did to us that was good, and what our parents did to us that was terrible, and what religions have done to us, and what school teachers, how they've enhanced our lives and how they've hurt our lives, and neighbors and family and friends. The nature that we have experienced is all there. And then we have our choices based off these things. And we have our sins that we commit, meaning things that are against God. And we have darkness that is part of all of our lives because we all love the darkness to some extent because we love ourselves more than we love God or others. And we have all sorts of these things. And I just want to say, relative to the great news, God has taken all of that into account, and he's taken care of all of it, meaning all of it's been paid for. Okay? All of it's been paid for. So the broad way, while it's been paid for, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We still can play to our DNA and our nature, and we still can blame it and look to it and act based off that. And that will lead to the broad way of loss or destruction. But in terms of God being angry at us for our actions, behaviors, and choices, free will choices, and arrogance and all this, it's been paid for. He's not angry. He's reconciled. But when we talk about the narrow way, God has said, listen, if you want to enter into the straight gate and the narrow way, that few be there that find it, look toward faith and act in love. And love is defined as being patient and kind and considerate and merciful. These are all forms of love. That's the narrow way, and few be there that find it. Why? Because we tap into these things even though they've been forgiven, and we live by them instead of that. But here's the key. This is the thing to understand. Don't feel guilty if you lack some of this and if you're strong in some of that. Understand that the way is narrow and is straight and is difficult, but it is accessed by letting go, and like the bumper sticker says, letting God. He is the one who supplies you with the faith, with the love. He is the vine. You're just a branch. So it's not about you doing these things. It's about you allowing those things to happen. And that's a really distinct bit of information that Christians need to know. Many religions and churches will teach you better do this, you better do this. You aren't doing it because you can't do it. Why can't you do it? You're at war with all these things. These things won't allow your flesh to do these things. So what happens is we have to resign ourselves to being ensconced in this stuff, which God took care of through his Son, and allow him to forge through us with that light and that life, and for him to operate. So every time we are faced with a decision to act this way, we say, this is not me. Why? Because I'm a new woman. I'm a new man in Christ. That is what I am. This is my real identity. And so because this is who I am, then every time I'm faced with a decision on how to respond to this fallen world, either through my flesh or through the Spirit, I let go. And I say, God, you act. Let me do your will. Let me allow you to proceed. Will you fail? Oh, of course you will. You'll fail all the time. And you'll see what you are in your flesh. But remember, this has been taken care of by Christ. God's not angry with you. You're in a fallen world in flesh, right? But he is seeking for you to let go and to trust. That's what it means to have faith in him. Realize that he's there. Let him have the vengeance. Let him provide the love. Let him give you the heart that will forgive. Let him teach you to be merciful while you in your flesh will not. And this is the difference between the broad way that leads to loss, suffering, not suffering, loss and destruction of things that are in our soul, to gain, to the narrow way. Just wanted to encourage you with that, and don't become burdened with you are failing. You are failing in these ways, and God took care of them. If you're failing in faith and love, then you need to let go, not build up. Just something for you to consider. We love you. You have a great week.